Hello everyone and welcome to What's My House Worth. Hope you're staying cool during this relatively mild summer. You are watching your favorite show that's airing right now. My name is Rob Tickton. This is Ryan McDonald. We are with Hawthorne Real Estate. We provide brokerage services. We're also a design build firm. And sometimes, Ryan, we are both.
Depends on what the customer needs, Rob.
But for now, we are here to talk about July sales data. So, Ryan, why don't we jump right in since there's a lot of sales to talk about?
There are a lot of sales to talk about. In July, outsold June, Rob. We don't see that very often,
No,
do
we don't. No.
We had 46 single-family homes close in the month of June in Needham. The average list price of those homes was $946,000. That's down a bit from $989,000 from June. The average sale price of $947,000, also down a bit from just under $1 million last month. But our percentages are holding, Rob. We have 100%. The houses are selling at 100% of list, at 97% of original list. That 97% is a number that we're accustomed to seeing. We've been spoiled in recent months seeing that number close to 100.
Right.
And then the average sale price per square foot at $357, which is a pretty bold number.
And it seems to be consistently bold at this point.
Yeah.
We're in mid threes. We've been touching close to 360.
Right.
And I think at some point we're going to have to kind of look back at the data over the past 12 months and just see how that number has gradually climbed and how it's held there.
That'll be a nice graph for a future show.
Yeah, well, I can make that happen for us.
Good deal.
Average days on market, 45 days, 37 homes that sold in July of 2013. So how does this month stack up with the previous 5? Take a look at that graph, Ryan. That's a nice direction, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and it's one that's a little bit different than what we see in years past, where typically the June is the peak, and it might taper off a little bit in July. But July had 46, June had 43, so those are two strong back-to-back months of closings.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see that number go up for August. I think at the end of the day, July is going to be the big month for 2014. But again, it's a healthy number certainly, and I think it will be again in August. Take a look at July, speak of the devil, how it's stacked up over the past 6 years or so. As you alluded to, a historically strong month, but it hasn't ever been stronger than July of 2014.
Yep. It didn't quite outpace July of 2009, but it, we have nice bookends to our 6-year look back. So 46 sales again, a lot.
We like to see the graphs heading in those directions, don't we?
Absolutely.
Tis the season. Tis the season, though, because as we know, the summer months reflect the spring market.
Correct.
And that's what's happening now. Time now to look at each sale for single-family homes on MLS. We're going to start low, Ryan.
Lowish, I guess. We're starting in the mid to high fives.
Mid to high fives, but either way, we're going to climb that ladder. Let's just start at 62 Green Street.
72 Green Street. How about?
You're correct.
All
72 right. Green Street. 1-0 Ryan. Go ahead.
I mean, this is a Cape sale like we used to see. It's a really nice house. It's well maintained. It overlooks the golf course. It sells for $550. That's what we're used to see with Capes in Needham.
Not a very big house, 1,500 square feet. 220 of those square feet in the basement.
Right. So that's contributing to its relative value when we're going to see some other Capes later in the show. But I like the price. I think it's a good buy.
That house is ready to move into, unlike the next listing, which required quite a bit of work to get it move-in condition. That's on 28 Mercer Road. This one, as they say in the business, Ryan, had a lot of hair on it.
Right. I mean, this one is unique. I think it was originally the main house in a bigger tract of land that's been over the years has been cut up and parceled off. But this is it's a Second Empire antique colonial, Rob. All you out there, you can Google that and see what the history of that architecture will tell you. It's sold for $560. Which is, it's probably about its land value. I mean, it's a 7,400 square foot lot, so there's a lot of work to be done there. It'll be interesting to see how that house turns out.
8 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Built in 1871. Pine Grove Street, a little bit of a different type of a house. This maybe a land sale?
It is a land sale. This was bought by a builder.
Okay, so that's confirmed, everybody.
It is a honey for the money, though.
Honey for the money.
All right.
564. What do you think about that number? Quickly.
I mean, for a lot that size, 10,000 square foot lot, it's probably pretty cut and dry land sale.
Yeah, right about where it should be. I would agree with you. 32 High Street is next up on the list, and we are certainly moving on to bigger lots, at least in this case, 13,000 square feet. Again, needs a lot of work, not unlike Mercer.
Right, this one's currently being renovated as we speak.
Ooh, so renovation's going on right now.
Yeah, right now.
Okay, maybe we can get a live broadcast out there at some point, but probably not.
Where's our helicopter crew?
Yeah, I know. I think he's out for lunch. 109 Standish Road is in a neighborhood that we really beat to death here.
Right, yeah. But I mean, if everyone's not calling this neighborhood the Olin Woods by now, then we're doing something wrong.
I don't think it's the Olin Woods. I think it's Olin Woods.
Oh,
1-1.
okay.
Sells for $612,500. But here's a question for you, Ryan. As we look at this one, any numbers you want to go over on this listing before I propose this question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So we don't know if Standish was sold to a builder or homeowner, I don't think. I think it's $612,500. It probably straddles that line, wouldn't you say, about it could have sold to a builder, could have sold to a homeowner? Because I think, 6 has established itself as a potential land sale price in that neighborhood.
Sure.
So as a builder, you can have 109 Standish,
Okay.
or for essentially the same money as we look at the next listing, 15 Intervale Road. Would you rather have 15 Intervale Road as we take a peek at that listing,
Which
or
we
would
know
you
is
rather
bought by a
have
builder.
which we know is bought by a builder, or would you rather have 109 Standish? They're essentially sold for the same price.
Right. I would prefer Standish. I think I like that location a little bit better.
It's close, but I would agree.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little more isolated. Intervale is obviously Broadmeadow,
It is.
but it's a little close to the highway.
Yep. It's across between the highway or on the other side of Greendale.
Correct. In between Greendale and 128.
Correct.
Anything else you want to touch on 15 Intervale Road?
No, I think you've covered it there.
Yeah, it's a land sale, so no point in getting too deep into the specs.
Agreed.
301 Mark Tree Road was not sold to a builder, I don't
Nope.
believe. It's a ranch, big piece of land,
16,000 square feet.
but set back.
Yes.
So you had to kind of drive in between two homes to get back to that lot.
Yep. And this one featured passive solar floor-to-ceiling windows in parts of the house.
Don't see that every day.
No, you don't. And just a quick tidbit on that: the passive solar means it collects and stores heat and energy to be released into the house during the winter, and it repels solar energy to keep the house cool in the summer.
Sounds like a nice little solution for windows, Ryan.
Not too bad.
It's a frequently traveled area during Saturdays.
Correct.
As
It's
we know.
right on the dump route.
Right on the dump route. And we're going to actually talk about another house that's right on the dump route that's essentially right across the street. But
Okay.
before we do that, let's go to Mary Chilton.
All right. This is the last stop in Needham, basically.
Is that right?
This is it.
Oh, yeah.
So, is this Olin Woods? I mean, yeah.
We're working on that right now. I don't think it is,
Have
but
they petitioned?
I'm told that it is Olin Woods.
Okay.
It sold for $565 back in 2010. Quiet street, but this one located at the
Yeah,
corner
it's in the corner.
of Great Plain and Mary Chilton.
It's a nice lot, 13,000 square feet. The house is in really good condition. Move in, pretty clean sale.
It's a serene and beautiful setting,
That's what I hear.
so long as cars aren't zooming by on Great Plain. 23 Tolman Street is the next listing, and I see some red writing.
Yes, you do.
That's my deal of the month for the
Seller.
seller, correct. The reason I call that my deal of the month is because that's a pretty astonishing number for essentially a teardown.
Yes.
I mean, we just talked about Standish at $612,500, and then you have Tolman at $670,000.
Why don't you tell everybody where Tolman is?
Oh, Tolman is located in the Newman School District, just set back off of Central, kind of in between the Central and Great Plain
Right.
corner there. Quiet street, very good location, good neighborhood, has a lot going for it, but just hasn't been, I don't think, any land sales
Not that
have
high,
gotten
no.
near that number. So could have been a bidding situation where somebody got potentially a little bit too excited
Possibly.
and bought it for $670,000. But my deal of the month for the seller, 145 Brookline Street, a house that you and I had the opportunity to walk through a little bit. First impressions of this house, Ryan?
It's really close to Mitchell School. So if that's something that is of interest to you for the period of time where your children attend that school, it's very convenient. You get to miss the pickup, the funds of drop off and pickup. This one thing I noticed is, and it probably didn't help it too well in the sale process, was that they have a nice little family room in the back of that house, as you remember. But there was a gigantic sofa in there that took up essentially the whole room and made it very difficult to really appreciate how you could lay that room out and better use the space. So it's one of those little things that just when you're maybe this house on the market for only 3 weeks, so it couldn't have hurt it that much, but it's just something to always keep in mind when you're putting your house on the market.
Staging, and that's
Staging.
where your listing agent can really add some value, right?
That's true.
202 Greendale Ave is a house that sold for $675,000. This one is located between Nevada and Parker. Any thoughts on this house?
Other than the older carpet in the basement being stained?
Yeah, well, I think that might be enough.
Right.
Maybe that, and also the fact that it was a 15,000 square foot lot.
Great lot.
Great lot.
Yeah.
And not, I like the location. I think it's a good number, $675,000.
No, I hear you.
For a lot of space to kind of stretch your legs outside anyway. 59 Yale Road. As we travel a little bit north
Into the Heights?
to the Heights.
4 days on market, sold for $685, 1,328 square feet. I love the disclosure that the treehouse is as is.
That's great.
I mean, just take the treehouse off the table. It's as is.
Yeah, they don't.
You never know.
Did they pull a permit?
I don't
with
know.
the tree building department?
I don't know. Maybe the treehouse master came out and did it.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if it could have been
Can you
restored.
talk about other programming and other networks on this show?
Yes.
Probably not.
Yeah, we're comfortable. Assessed value on that house at $532. 74 Barrett Street has a lot going for it. It has location, it has space, and according to the listing sheet, it also has value.
Yeah, I would agree.
1,800 square feet, 4 beds, 2.5 baths. I feel like another neighborhood where we've seen a lot of action.
Yes, lately, you're right.
Yeah, kind
Definitely.
of a up and comer.
Sure.
Because not a ton of new construction back there, but it kind of fits the mold as far as you have good sized lots, quiet street,
Yeah.
and things are starting to turn there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this one sells for $695. Over Newell Avenue, as we inch a little bit closer to town center, this one had an enormous deck overlooking the level fenced yard.
It also had a couple of price reductions. I mean, this is one of those houses that went out a little bit high, priced in the low to mid eights to out of the gates. Ended up selling at $730. Went under agreement a couple of times. I mean, Newell is it's a nice little spot. I just think that this is an indication of overvaluing from the seller's perspective in the initial pricing of the house.
Yeah, you don't see too many instances where a house ends up selling for over $100,000 less than what it was originally listed for.
Right.
We've seen it,
Yep.
but not very often. Usually it seems to be heading in the other direction. And we've got quite a few of those in this month's show. Over on Mark Tree, we return to Mark Tree, and it's the other side of Mark Tree, of the house that we were talking about earlier. This one was a deal of the month candidate for me, Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why is that?
Well, it was certainly move-in condition.
Yep.
It was a nice house. I like the way it was laid out. I like the way it was finished. No basement.
Yep. It's
On a slab,
Yep.
which I think works against you a little bit because people like to have that space down there.
Yeah.
But had a lot of offers, sells for $750. I think, like we said, priced it a little low, generate a lot of interest. You got some dump traffic to contend with over there, but you've got a giant lot,
Yes.
which is the other thing, 30,000 square feet, ton of space.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on that one. Huh?
We will. We'll see how that one plays out, even though it's already sold. 8 Carrydale Road. Ryan, how many of our viewers know where Carrydale is? On a percentage basis. You think of a number, I'll think of a
Okay.
number. You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
6?
20.
I'm going with 6.
All right, 6%.
Yeah. I mean,
So where is it?
it's sort of tucked on the end of Prince, and when I say end of Prince, I mean where Prince dies after it crosses over Harris.
Okay.
So it's just this little nook of a street, and it's you're kind of train affected from a noise perspective, but it's a nice little spot, very quiet. I mean, this house, it's a little dated, but getting it for $780, it's a ton of space, over 2,600 square feet, 5 bedrooms. On a really quiet street, save for the train, but the train is part of Needham life, so we all understand that. I like this deal.
You like it?
Yeah, it's a nice little house.
I like the next deal, and I like it for the seller. It was another deal of the month finalist, 15 Concord Street, and the reason I liked it so much is I just think it's a pretty healthy number when you're talking about a 1,500 square foot house. 4 beds, 2.5 baths. You got the attached garage.
Great location.
Great location, but a good number, I think,
Yeah,
for the seller. I think
definitely
the seller
strong.
walks away from this one delighted
Yeah.
that they started to get close to that $800,000 number. 26 Hawthorne Ave. Speaking of deal of the month finalists,
Here's a finalist.
that's beyond a finalist.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could call me a homer, being the Hawthorne Street, but this one, I think, I think that the buyer has got to be pretty happy with this deal. I mean, this house is in great condition. It's in a great location. It's 2,000 square feet, 4 beds. It's got a new roof, which I think is one of the reasons why it might have come on and off the market a couple times. It did go under agreement, went back on, went under agreement, went back on. The roof got done. I'm assuming that was probably part of some inspection. But I think getting in the 7s, you talk about Concord, is a cape in the 7s and essentially a similar location. And now you're getting a colonial for the same value. I mean, this is a nice house. Doesn't have a garage, it does have a shed. But I like this deal for the buyer.
Okay, great. 36 Thorpe Road is, if there was an award for most extensive property history,
Right.
I think 36 Thorpe Road would win in a
Well,
landslide.
does the new owner have to continue to put it on the market every year? Is that in the deed?
Well, I believe it was built in 2005, and it's essentially been on the market, on and off the market, I don't know, close to 15, 20 times since then.
Almost weekly.
Almost weekly, or so it felt. It was rented for a spell, but finally, it sells for $790 in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the longest period of time between when a house gets built and when it actually conveys.
Perhaps.
I believe. But in 2014, anything is possible, Ryan.
That's true.
Anything's
That's true.
possible.
Sky's the limit.
That's right. 26 Pilgrim Road is our next home as we start to creep closer to that $1 million barrier. Ryan, thoughts?
So this one obviously went above asking, so it had some competition. The one thing I wanted to bring to light is in the listing sheet, the sellers requested a closing date that's in August. It's obviously closed in July. Just goes to show if you make a really strong offer and you say I'm at $799, you're asking $769. The seller's gonna have to give a little bit. And in this case, they gave on the closing date.
That's right. And staying in that neighborhood, we go over to 31 Standish Road, just a few streets down. This one sells for $806. Move-in condition. It was 11,000 square foot lot. Nice size lot, flat, level, clean, a little dated, but nice.
Yeah, I like the Standish, how they're always the tilted. The
Yeah,
houses
do you
are-
like that?
I mean, it's characters. I mean, other streets in Needham that are like that.
I love it.
Good for Standish.
150 Meadowbrook Road is next up on the list. A house that sells for $815,750. Again, that's $815,750.
Yep.
This one was just a short stroll to Needham Center, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a few times on the show. It's an underrated walk-to-town location.
Correct.
So Hillside School, this is a good number. I mean, this house went over 8, originally listed at mid-7s, so obviously some healthy competition there. But I think that the seller's got to be pretty happy.
Over on 236 Parish Road, we kind of beat this to death, talking about being across the street from a cemetery. Pun intended. Tough Corner, Rosemary, Nahoyden, sells for 8. Wow, that's a crazy number, huh? Look at that number, cents.
Yeah, we don't usually deal with decimal points.
Should we start? Maybe we should create a graphic where we show all the homes that sell in a year for something in the cents.
Is that a graph people would enjoy?
How many homes would be on it?
I don't know, not that many.
No. This would, though. Next. Right? Are we done with that?
Yeah, I think we've beaten that to death.
Yes. 33 Lantern Lane. It's a cul-de-sac, Ryan.
Yes, it is, and you know how I feel about cul-de-sacs, Rob.
I believe you love them.
I really do. I mean, it's just, go outside and play. It's nice.
So much better than a dead end.
Right, right. This one is, it's a good in-town location. It's near Needham Junction, so you're going to have some train traffic and noise, but it's walk to town. It's, obviously there were enough people to, in 3 days, bid this thing up to $833,500, so go get them, Lantern.
And speaking of cul-de-sacs, we go to 96 Canterbury Lane. Another one, back-to-back cul-de-sac. Sells for $835 after being listed for $849. This one, 17,000 square foot lot.
Big.
Yeah. That's right.
You
Bit
betcha.
dated, but a good value there. 108 Manning Street is a desirable location, wouldn't you agree?
It is. I mean, Manning's a little bit of a cut through. I'd say a lot of bit of a cut through if you compare it to other streets. But this one, I think, quite candidly, I think as we'll see when we get to another listing in a few minutes, was the timing this one came on the market. It came on the market at the time of a couple other houses that were underpriced, which made this one look worse by comparison. When in a sense, I think it was priced pretty well.
Interesting. We'll get back to that
Yeah.
listing in a little bit. Very rare that under $1 million we see homes that have 4.5 baths, but 88 High Street is an example. Sells for $847,500. 4 beds, 4.5 baths.
Yeah, and some extensive directions as to how to get to the house.
Yes, the person who listed this house really wanted prospective buyers to know how to get there.
Yes.
So we've taken that off the listing sheet, and that way, if any of our viewers want to take a drive-by, they know how to get there as well.
There you go.
Heated lap pool and spa
Oh, good.
came with this one, Ryan.
And it's sold for asking.
Sold for asking. 50 Stevens Road did not sell for asking.
Well, it did the second time around. The original list price was $895. It did sell for $860 after the price was reduced to $860.
I stand corrected. It did not sell for original asking.
Right, and this is the other one that I was alluding to when we talk about Manning. When this one came on the market, it came on in the wake of a couple of other houses that were underpriced. One we'll talk about probably in our October show that really stole the show, and these other houses sort of didn't look as good by comparison.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great house for $860. I mean, the buyer is ecstatic.
Yeah, it's a nice house. Very
Great
charming.
location.
Great location. Had a lot going for it. 124 Green Street also had a lot going for it. It's another nice location, just one house in from South Street. But you get to keep all the appliances,
You
right?
sure do.
They all stay.
But you wonder about that. Like, is there an appliance in there that maybe you don't want? There's they're all staying.
Like a blender?
I don't know. I want I want to revisit that.
2,900 square feet, but that includes a pretty spacious basement. So
Yes.
a little bit smaller. Big lot though, 14,000 square feet there. 191 Tudor Road. You want to talk about some of the houses that got a lot of action? Would this be one of them, Ryan?
This was one of the houses that was on the market the same weekend as Stevens and Manning, priced at $909. This was $1 million house and it sold for $975. So there you have it. That one. Nice location, nice house, good price.
Had a lot going for it.
Yep.
For sure. 50 Edgewater Drive, a little bit of a trickier listing than 191 Tudor in the sense that it wasn't quite as updated,
Right.
and the layout was extremely unique.
Extremely.
In fact, it was just downright funky,
Right.
some might say.
A custom-built home way ahead of its time.
Way ahead of
one
its
might
time,
say.
perhaps. You can take that, sure. It was a really grand kind of family room or living room, and then the bedrooms off to the side.
Right. Whole center of the house was a big giant family room.
Different. Took a very specific buyer to buy that house.
But it got 980, so
It did. And
good job.
It's a nice location.
Right on the Charles too, which is cool.
That counts a lot for sure. 11 Ridgeway Terraces, not on the Charles.
No, it isn't. It's a very nice house, nicely finished, updated throughout, 13,500 square foot lots, and went over asking and over $1 million. So good job, Ridgeway.
I mean, it went significantly over asking,
Yep.
right? $995 sells for $60,000 over. That is not our leader in terms of most over asking, but it's certainly in the
Sure.
mix. 90 Morningside. I think Morningside might get the award for greatest spread over original list. You don't see too many that are over $100,000 over.
You do here,
Yeah, you do here. That's underpriced, I would say.
possibly.
Probably.
Right.
And undervalued by the town of Needham
Yes, the assessed value's got to get picked up there.
to boot. But it's a nice location, desirable certainly, and a good number for 90 Morningside Road. 158 Hillcrest is a house that you and I both strolled through.
We did.
Right, an interesting house, especially with the backyard, the way it was set up
Right.
there. You want to tell the viewers about that a
Sure,
little bit?
it's not much of a backyard, and it's as you know, Hillcrest is at the top of Birds Hill, and it looks out. There's really cool views. So the unmatched views and sunsets is an accurate portrayal. But a little quirky. I mean, your driveway's in the back. It's off of Alpine Terrace, which in the winter can be kind of a pain.
Yeah.
And the other thing to keep aware of there is there's a vacant lot right out in your sight line out the back there, and that lot's been trying to get permitted a few times for a new home to be built there. So that could affect what you're seeing out your deck in later years when you're living at 158 Hillcrest Road.
Good note, Ryan. 74 Charles River Street. This is one of the houses that is an example of, when you're a builder or developer, if you don't get your number, some people like to rent it, thinking they'll get their number at a later date. This one goes on in 2012, eventually gets reduced all the way to 1.085. So instead of selling it for a number that they felt like was a throwaway, they rent it and then they put it on for 2014 and get
1135.
1135. So
Good
good
work.
move.
Yeah.
It works. It doesn't
Plus,
always
you got
work.
some rental income during that hold period, so it might have paid off.
Yeah, it doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work.
It certainly doesn't work in a market that's going downward.
That's true.
But in this market, I suppose anything is possible. You ready to go to Windsor Road?
Why not?
What, you want to do a little back-to-back Windsor action?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right, I'm in. 106 Windsor Road. Start with that one.
Very modern, contemporary. It's a unique house. These are often the hardest homes to price.
Yep.
Because their comps just aren't there, and it takes such a specific buyer. This one had some price reductions, was on the market close to 100 days. Ultimately, does get 1135 as an end price, and I think the seller's got to be happy with that.
Yeah,
Don't
I
you?
agree. Yeah, that seems to be right to me.
Yeah.
Especially when you stack it up against the next house,
Yep.
which is 50 Windsor, which is 800 square feet bigger. It has the extra bedroom, and it sells for 60,000 more.
Right.
So I think they can both look at each other and think, all right, yeah,
Done.
that's about right.
Put a bow on Windsor.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt, I guess, to have a house on your street that goes on the market at the same time. You don't want it to be too similar,
Right.
right? Which probably was going on there. They were probably battling a little bit, but they both sell for those respective numbers, and we both agree they seem about right. 171 Webster Street is a large house.
Yep.
It's over 5,000 square feet,
Including basement.
the
Sure.
basement.
Yep. 27,000 square foot lot too. So big. It's on the height side of Webster. Big lot. That's a pretty good number. Built-in 2005.
Yeah, it's a newer, it's a younger home.
Fledgling.
Fledgling home. Not unlike 7 Pheasant Road, also fledgling. Pheasant and fledgling. That can trip a lot of people up.
Right.
You want to try that at home? It sold for $996 as a new construction in '07. I would say the people who bought it then did pretty well.
Yeah, that's nice appreciation.
Yeah, and a good little neighborhood that we talked about back
sure.
there. 68 Wachusett Road. Ryan,
Yes.
any insight regarding this listing?
No, it's Wachusett is up in that same area near Alpine Terrace and Hillcrest. It says nice views out the back. You do have a pretty steep decline. If you go over your retaining wall, you could tumble right down into Perry Park.
Ooh, I mean, there are worse places to end up.
No, it's very soft down there. There's a lot of sledding there.
112 Brookline Street is located between Falcon and Woodledge. This house has a command center, Ryan.
It sure does.
So-
they run operations out of that kitchen.
I was surprised it didn't have 3.5 baths when I saw the sales price, but walk to Mitchell.
Okay.
35 Peacedale Road, we return to the neighborhood that's in between Greendale there
Yep.
and 128. Another younger / newer /
Well, yeah,
fledgling home.
this is one where like the builder built it or bought it in 2010, built it, resided in it,
Correct.
and has then now sold it in the present day.
Correct.
So,
I've been in that house.
oh, good.
It's nicely finished.
How about that?
I have not been in 63 Ardmore Road,
Oh, that makes two of us.
but it's on a big lot.
Yes.
14,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Includes the finished attic with
Nice
the
building
finished
specs
square
to that
footage.
house, too.
Yes, and comes in at a pretty good number, healthy. 135 Hillcrest Road.
I really like this house.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, me too.
you know, as a new construction snob, it's nice to recognize well-built homes too. As we can be very critical at times, but this was a really impressive home.
It's also good to recognize that you're new construction snob.
Yeah, I mean, appreciated well. It sold for 1.45 in 2011. It was built. Now it's selling for 1.64. So, nice job there.
419 Charles River Street is a house that took a little while. When you talk about these homes that are over the $2 million number, it can be a little tricky. Certainly that was the case. This went on the market for just about a year. Pretty cool house to walk through, right? Wouldn't you agree?
I would, yeah. It was impressive. But still, like you said, I mean, the basement with the home theater and the wine cellar was really cool.
Yeah, agreed. And that gets us.
We do have one more.
We have one more.
We do, and this one we got kind of fouled up here. We've got 689 Charles River Street to talk about. It actually sold for 1.8, less than 419 Charles River, but MLS had it at 880.
Oh,
so
that's correct.
There was a whole big to do in the office trying to put this together in this production. So this house, this is a classic case of a builder coming up with a design and really taking a shot at it, but it was just a design that kind of breaks the mold of what the Needham market tends to embrace. I mean,
So what does the Needham market tend to embrace?
I mean, it's the first floor with the nice flow, the open great room with the living room, the dining room, maybe an office, especially in a house this size. This one has a lot of bedrooms on the first floor, not just like a first floor master, but like bedroom down a hallway. It was tough to really follow what the layout was going for, but very nicely done. It's a Nantucket style home, as the builder will tell you. I think it's a really nice house. I think it just went out of the gates at a really high number, and then it's tough to reconcile that after the fact. But so this one, it sold for $700,000 under asking.
Well, you essentially had to go down, if I remember correctly, a shared driveway as well.
Yes,
right?
true. Yep.
And so when you're talking about spending $2 million for a house,
Yeah.
I would imagine a lot of people in that price range want their own access to their own home.
Possibly.
Not to share that. That concludes our trip around the 46 houses that sold for the month of July. We now will take a look at the market snapshot, as we always do right here on What's My House Worth. Ryan, take a look at that snapshot. Tell me what you see.
We have 84 active single-family listings, so there are still some deals to be had, especially in the summer months when you're not competing with as many buyers. So get out there and get after them.
Yeah, the numbers are dropping a little bit, as
They
we
are.
expect. The summer market is now coming to a close, and we are now getting ready for the fall market. Always
Yeah.
an exciting time.
Should be healthy.
Should be healthy, should be fun. And the numbers are going to drop, though, to reflect the summer market before they go up.
Yep.
Ryan, people want to give us a call, see what their house is worth. How would they reach us?
Call us anytime, 781-707-6564.
You've been struggling with that number recently.
Yeah, geez.
Back-to-back shows.
You can also email us at rob.ryan@hawthornere.com.
That does it for this month's installment of What's My House Worth. Ryan, thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate that, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good month, everybody. We will see you extremely, extremely soon.